Hello everyone, this is Taliesin McKnight, and this is part 2, Kabbalistic concept of the fall of man. What is the fall of man, and how did this occur from a Kabbalistic perspective? So a lot of us study the tree of life, the four worlds, all of that, the 10 Sephirot. But how does this apply to the fall of man? And once again, we're looking at the actual Hebrew of the text. And in my last video, we looked at the process of creation as a gradual process of differentiation from a primal unity. In Genesis chapter 1, it was a gradual process of separation and division. The first day there was light and darkness, and he separated the light from the darkness. Second day the firmament divided the waters above and below. The third day gathered the waters to one place and let dry land appear, and the earth brought forth plants. The fourth day sun and moon to divide and separate the day from the night and to rule over the light and the darkness. The fifth day, the air brought forth animals, so this is a gradual process of division and separation. So now we get to the seventh day. Now in my last video, we looked at the idea of the four worlds. We have Atzilut, Bria, Yetzirah, and Asiya. Atzilut is the Yud, the Father, Chokmah. This is the spark of an idea to create. So if you're building a house, this is your initial idea to create. This is the seminal spark. Bria, the world of creation, is taking that energy from the idea, the Yud, and the mother. And the mother, Bria, Bina, the He, logically planning it out. Okay, if I build a house, I'm going to do it like this. And that blueprint is like the child in the womb, the Vav, the son, which is Chesed to Yesod, which manifests in Malkut. So we have 6 days of creation, 6 Sephirot in the world of Yetzirah, the formative sphere. Now we get to Genesis 2 and the 7th day, and the creation of man, which really that was on the 6th day. Now the word Malkut, excluding the supernals, you have 7 lower Sephirot. Chesed to Yesod, 6 days of creation. Malkut is the finished product. It is the child born from the womb. Malkut is the finished product. All the higher Sephirot manifest within Malkut. And the word Malkut means kingdom. Kingdom. And it's associated with several different words. Kingdom, Malkut, Melech, king, Malka, queen, Malaka, work, also Malak, angel or messenger. So, Malaka means work or task or a job, and it's linked to Malkut on the 7th day. And the word Asa, Asiya, to make or perform. This is Malkut within the world of Asiya. And the 7th day is Malkut. Malkut is the Sabbath. Malkut is the day of rest when all things manifest. It says here, Genesis 2, Vaikulu Hashamayim v'charetz v'kol tzivam, and the heavens and the earth were finished. Vaikal Elohim b'yom hashvi, and everything on the 7th day. Now remember, Malaka, Malkut, is work. And Asa, make or perform, is the word Asiya. Vaikal Elohim b'yom hashvi, the 7th day. Malakto, the work. Asher Asa, which he made. Malkut and Asiya. B'yom hashvi, the 7th day. Malakto, the work, Asher Asa, made, Asiya. Vaishabot, and rested, B'yom hashvi, on the 7th day. Mikal Malakto, work, Asher Asa, made. Vayvarek Elohim et Yom Hashvi. God blessed the seventh day. Vakadosh oto, and sanctified it. Kivo Shavat Mikal Malakto Asher bara Elohim Lasot Asiya Ele Toldot Hashamayim V'charetz B'Hibaram. So the seventh day talks about the finished product, the Sabbath of rest, Malkut, the world of Asiya. This is the finished product. The 6 days was the labor, the formation, which manifests on the day of rest, Malkut, the seventh day, the Sabbath, the Shabbat, which is the queen, Malka, and the bride, Kala. And this is the resting place of God's presence or glory, the Shekinah, of course. So, when it talks about the seventh day and the finished product, it refers to the word asa, asiya. Now, in the next paragraph, it talks about the creation of man. It does not use the word asa, made. It uses the word yetzer, formed. Now, when it talks about the heavens and the earth, the word is asa, asiya, made. But when it talks about the creation of man, in the next paragraph, it switches to, in the next paragraph, see this asa, made. In the next paragraph, when it talks about man, it switches to the word yetzer. God didn't make man, He yetzer, He formed man. This is the world of formation, or yetzira. Bayom asot Adonai Elohim eretz v'shamayim v'kol siyach hasadeterem yichye v'aretz v'kol esef hasadeterem yitzmach kilom himtir Adonai Elohim al charetz v'adam ayin lavod et hadama v'ed yale min haretz v'hishket kol pnei hadama. Verse 7. Vayitzer, yetzira, and formed. Vayitzer. So the word asa, make, yetzira, form. Vayit, and then bria, of course, is create. So the different worlds, you have the word bria, creation, yetzira, formation, asiya, make. Vayitzer, formed Adonai Elohim et Hadam. Afar min Hadama vayapach b'paiv nishmat chayim vayki Adam lenefesh chaya. So it talks about man existing within the formative sphere, within the realm of within the realm of Yetzirah. So man did not exist in his primal state within Malkut. Man existed within the higher realm of Yetzirah, the formative sphere. And we are about to see that man was a sovereign creature. We ruled over the everything. We were a sovereign creature meant to govern the rest of creation. And we even take part in creation, which I'm about to explain. Now, going back to the 6th day, the creation of man, it says, Vayomer Elohim naseh Adam betsalmenu. Let us make man in our image. Kidmutenu, in our likeness. Virdu, to rule. Vidagat hayam, the fish of the sea. Uvof hashamayim, the birds of heaven. Uvabhema, the cattle. To rule over. Kal haretz, we were made to rule over all the earth and all the creeping things of the earth. And God blessed Adam, the man. Now God made man in His own image, male and female created He them. It says that in the same sentence. Vayvar Elohim et Hadam betsalmo, in His image. Betsalem Elohim bara oto, zakar unkeva bara otam. Right when it says God made man in His own image, it says male and female. So does that mean that God has masculine and feminine qualities? This has deep implications for the Kabbalah because we have Binah and Chokmah, father and mother, the pillar of severity and mercy. Now, in case we think this is an accident, God made man in his own image, male and female. Here in chapter 5, it says, this is the record of Adam's line. It says, God made man in his own image, male and female. So that's chapter 5, so surely it's not an accident. So male and female created he them. But God made man as a sovereign creature to rule over the rest of nature. Now this is often misinterpreted. Some people like to think it means that we're meant to dominate the world. That's not the case, y'all. This is talking about our primal state. We once existed within the formative sphere of Yetzirah, and we were a sovereign creature over creation. And we took part in creation within the formative sphere. Now, where am I getting this information? If you take a look at Genesis 1, God spoke the world into being. The first day God said, "Let there be light." And there was light. Poof. And God called, He named the light day. And God named the darkness night. The second day of creation, God spoke with the Word, the Logos. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God. God spoke. He said, "Let there be a firmament in the heavens." And poof, it happened. And He named the heavens, the sky, the waters above heavens. The third day, God speaks. He says, let the waters be gathered to one place and let dry land appear. And God named, He called the dry land earth and the gathering the waters seas. So God's process of creation is speaking it into being and naming it. You'll see here that in Genesis 2, God wanted to find a helper. And it says, Vayatzer formed the different animals, again, in 2nd chapter, showing it as a shift in focus. And God brought the animals to Adam to see what he would name them. So, and Adam gave names to all the creatures. So again, we see this concept of man taking part in creation. So now we get to how did man fall? So first of all, what is man's primal state? In our primal state of unity, we did not die. We were not a fallen creature. Man was created as a sovereign creature, male and female. And we existed within the formative realm above creation. And we partook of immortality. We took part in creation. We named the creatures. So we existed within this perfect state of primal unity. So this is where we were. This is the place that we came from. Now, how did we fall? God said not to eat of the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Now, some people like to say that knowledge was forbidden. Nope, it's not knowledge. What's it a knowledge? It's the knowledge of good and evil, good and bad. So it's not that he ate of the tree of knowledge. He ate of the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Now, the word for knowledge is dot. It's the tree of knowledge, dot, vatovara, good and evil. Dot is a specific form of knowledge, a lot of times transliterated as D-A-A-T. Dot is a specific form of knowledge. It is knowledge by union, by experience something. For example, it's often used in a sexual context. For example, Adam yada ishto hava. Adam knew his wife. So if you know someone, you have sex with them. So dot is knowledge by experiencing something. Also, I wanted to say that the word Adam is not just his name. The word Adam in Hebrew means mankind. So that's interesting. The word Adam means the man or mankind. So you could say, hey, look at that Adam over there. Look at that man over there. Or you could talk about mankind as Adam. So you have to realize that there's an intuitive understanding in Hebrew that Adam means mankind and not just a person. So the knowledge of good and evil was knowing good and bad by experiencing it. So eating of the knowledge of good and evil is opening up the doorway to evil, bad, within our minds. So we existed within this perfect state. We partook of the union with good and evil. And this began our inner struggle with good and evil. So this is the beginning of man's struggle with right and wrong, good and evil. And this began our process of struggle within ourselves. When we partook of the tree of knowledge of good and evil, it represented uniting with good and evil to experience it. And this is the beginning of the fall and our struggle. So what did God do? Now man has to get out there and toil in the field. We have to get out there and work for a living and struggle to survive. Now we have death. It says, now you will struggle in the field. By the sweat of your brow you will eat bread. And it says that now we will die and return to the ground, because dust you are and to dust you will return. So partaking of good and evil, this begins the struggle with evil within ourselves. So the knowledge of good and evil is uniting with good and evil. So now we experience good and evil, and now we have this inner struggle. And that is what the tree of knowledge of good and evil represents. God says, oh, you want to now be a part of good and evil and have this struggle? Okay, out of the garden you go. And he clothed them with garments of skin. Interesting, garments of skin, and cast them from the garden. And so now we live in this world, and now we have this inner struggle with good and evil. Now we have this, now we're in school. So now we're having knowledge, Now we are learning, and now we have this inner struggle. Now what's the next thing that happened? Cain killed his own brother. He murdered his own brother, Abel. Out of what? Jealousy. Cain killed Abel because Abel outdid him. And he was jealous, so he murdered his own brother. So this is the beginning of competition and wanting to get ahead. Now I know some people probably wish that I had something deeper to say that the knowledge of good and evil is. But I mean, that's what it means. This is the conflict with good and evil. It is an ethical conflict. Now we have to struggle with our lower nature. Our lower nature is our passions. It is our enslavement to our passions and desires, and our own evil impulse, which is the serpent. Now, how do we get back? How do we get back to where we were? We have to be liberated from the knowledge of good and evil. And this is attained by two things: release from our passions, overcoming ourselves, and gnosis, or enlightenment. Because if you have true enlightenment, then you no longer have the struggle. So the way back is to overcome our passions. Now this isn't very fun, but we have to master ourselves. When we become self-ruling, have self-conquest, when we are masters of ourselves, we tame our passions and obtain enlightenment, or gnosis, then we go back to where we were. And this sounds a lot like other religions, like Buddhism. Buddhism talks about being free from craving and aversion, freedom from our desires, and enlightenment. So Buddhism, Gnosticism, a lot of different traditions talk about liberation from our passions and enlightenment. And this is the way back home. And that is a brief look at the Kabbalistic understanding of the fall of man. And in future videos, we will look at the Zohar. Thank you for joining me, y'all.